Hello and welcome to this video walking you through my exact cold email system. This is the system that's helped me to book hundreds, if not thousands, of appointments by now. It's the system that I developed by working on loads of different accounts for loads of different clients. I actually run an agency where we do this for different clients in different niches. So I've been able to build this system out to a point where it's basically flawless at this point. It lands in the inbox 99% of the time if you do everything correctly. It can book, 5, 6, 7 appointments in a single day sometimes. And it's going to be the thing that helps you to get to 10K, 6 figures, whatever the thing that you're looking for. If you're just starting out, if you've been doing this for a little while now, I promise you there's going to be a lot of value in this one. So stick around for this one. It's going to be good. But if you're not familiar with me, my name's Ben Lister, and I help agency owners by documenting my learnings on this YouTube channel that help me to make about multi-six figures per year. So this masterclass is going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to be successful with cold email. This is going to be the thing that means that you can generate consistent appointments. It's very reliable. It's very predictable. This one system that I'm going to show you here has helped me to book over 100 appointments in a single month, many different times before. This system on its own is going to get you to that 10K per month. So what I want you to do is to bookmark this video and come back to it again and again and again. If you're on a Chrome, just literally click the star up here and it will bookmark it, because getting to 6 figures is literally just a case of watching this video, implementing it, and then staying consistent. Okay, so you're gonna have to come back to different bits. You're gonna forget things. You have to probably watch it once and then come back to it and, check a few different things out because you might not have picked up on certain things. But once you watch this and you go through this and you're able to, put the things together, then you'll have a lot of learnings. And I'm gonna go through the exact systems that we do. I'm not just gonna read off a sheet here. I'm gonna log into the email systems that we have. I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna do a part of this system as well, how we do the setup. I'm gonna create some copy with you, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so these are just some of the results that we have. This is just a typical month. This was October last year, and this is the kind of calendar that we're experiencing right now, where basically, we open up 5, 6 slots a day, and we get 5 bookings a day pretty consistently. Okay, so first of all, infrastructure. Now, what I've done here is I've opened up different levels. We can do 100, 200, or 300 emails per day. Okay, and obviously, the more emails that you send, the more it's going to cost. But of course, the better results you're going to get. Okay, and so these fees are mostly due to the amount of domains that you have and the email accounts, and so there'll be regular fees. Okay, so the way that it works, 100 per day is going to be 8 domains with 7 sending domains and 1 master domain, and I'll explain a little bit what that is in just a second. And the way that's broken down into email accounts is 21 sending accounts and then 1 master account. And then for 200 per day, it's 15 domains, 14 sending, 1 master, 42 sending and 1 master account, and then 300 per day, it's 21 domains, 20 sending, 1 master, and then 60 sending and 1 master account. Okay, and so what you can actually do here is you can increase the level of risk in this system by adding more emails per account per day. So currently the system's doing no more than 5 per day per account. Okay, so if we have, there's an example here, right? So we have 21 accounts. This is for the 100 email per day system. Okay, and we're sending about 4.76 emails per day. So we got to use some email software to send this. And so that's what it averages out about, right? But no one goes above 5 emails per day per account. However, if you wanted to have a little bit more risk in this system and risk your accounts going into spam quicker, so they are healthy for less amount of time, then what you can do is you can have this system, for example, with 7 sending domains and 21 sending accounts, and then increase that to 10 per day. Now, I would not recommend this just for purpose sake. But what I'm saying with this is if you wanted to increase it so you are spending less money but getting more results for it, but you're also adding more risk in it, so more chance of landing in the spam, then you can do that. Okay, so the email infrastructure for the 100 per day setup is going to cost you around $30 per month. 200 will cost you about 55, and then 300 will cost you about 75. So you can see there's kind of a bit of economies of scale there. It does go cheaper per email the more that you do, but yeah, that's how we structure that. And so what you can see here, 7 domains with 21 accounts. And so we have all the different accounts in here. If I just zoom in a little bit. And these emails are being sent over to the prospects, and then the prospects will send a reply, and then the replies will get forwarded to the master domain. Okay, the master domain is where we do all of our responding. So this is what it would look like for 100 per day with doing the 7 domains. And so now for the actual setup and how we go and set up this whole system. Okay, and so we have a spreadsheet here which is called the email database, and this is going to track all the accounts that we create. So it's super simple, and there's the different formats here: the 100 per day, 200, 300, and obviously we can see we've got the 7x3, the 14x3, and the 20x3. Okay, so if I just open up the 7x3 just to show you what this looks like, the first page here, you don't have to do anything with this. This is just basically for your records. Okay, so if I just open the 7x3, what you'll see here, the first page, the first tab is the database. You don't need to do anything with this just yet, but this will show you all of the emails that you have. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 domain settings here, and then we have 3 of those emails in each one. And the configuration that we have in here, this is where you're going to put your domains, and this is when you're going to put the names of the people who are, creating these accounts, and you're going to put the email password and stuff like that. So it's a super, super simple sheet. And obviously, if you go to the 14 by 3, then there'll be more spaces there, 20 by 3 more, so on. Okay. And so when we're creating, managing, or doing anything with these emails at all, when we are basically touching these email accounts, we need to be connected to a VPN. Now, this is because the IP address that you're working from can be recognized by the email providers, by the people that you're sending emails to, and we want this to be separate from your current IP address, because there's a risk that you're going to get blacklisted, you're going to get banned, you're going to get marked. This person is sending a lot of spam, this IP address is sending lots of emails, and so what's going to happen is that IP address might get banned, it might get blacklisted, something might happen to it. And so if that happens to your home address, then this is going to be pretty bad, because when you just send normal emails, you're just sending business emails, you're sending calendar invitations, things like that, it will normally be registered to your home IP address. This is the IP address you normally use because you're not connected to a VPN. And so if that gets blacklisted, if that gets banned, it's probably not good. You're going to have to be connected to a VPN all the time. So we make sure we're connected to a VPN so that we don't have to do that, basically. And so we can change our IP address around, okay? It doesn't matter what VPN provider that you use. I like to use NordVPN because there's a lot of servers, so we can switch around a lot. And if one goes bad, we can just easily switch to another server. But all you want to do is simply log into the server, make a note of what you're using in the email database, and then just check if the IP address has currently been blacklisted or it has what kind of reputation it has, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I have the NordVPN one open in here. I actually am connected to one right now. But if you come in here and you go to United States, and I like to use United States simply because a lot of the times we are emailing people in the United States, so it makes more sense for emails to be sent from the United States to United States, if that makes sense. And so you can just click on here, I'll give you any random one. But to be honest with you, I think if you go for a random one, sometimes the IP can be bad, because the one that it gives you, it has a bad reputation, okay? And so what you want to do once you're actually now connected to the VPN is go to this site here, or just go to any site that can show you your IP address. So, what is my IPaddress.com? So it thinks that I'm in New York, and this is the one that we want here, the IPv4. So it's the one that's just numbers and then a few full stops. Just come in here, copy this. And then this is the website that we use, the Talos Reputation Center. And so this is going to be the thing that actually lets you know if your email or your IP address has been blacklisted. Okay, so come in here and paste this. And then you just click search. And so, of course, this is the IP address that we're using from the NordVPN. Because we're using the VPN, sometimes it can take a bit of a while. It likes to verify that you're, a certain person or whatever. And we come in here. And so pretty good. So this is the thing that we're really looking at here. So send IP reputation neutral, and then the email volume is completely 0. So there's no significant emails being sent on this IP address, and then the spam level is none. So this is a really good one. And sometimes this doesn't happen straight away. So what we want to do here, like I said, we're ideally looking for 0 email volume and then none on the spam level. If it doesn't give you this one, you want to try a new server and then just do it again, right? So just check the IP address and see if it works. And so once we're happy with this, then we want to come in here, record the one that it was, so it's 6614, and then when we go into the email database here, we can just put 6614 in there, just like that, right? And so now we know every single time that when we go to NordVPN, if I disconnect, for example, I can click on this arrow here and I can search 6614, just like that, and now I can reconnect to that same IP address. So every single time that I'm on here, I can just reconnect in, okay? And so now we need to actually buy the sending domains that we're going to use, okay? So it's either 7, it's 14, or 20, depending on the level of the system that you're using. And you must never use a domain that is actually important for your business. You might have 2 or 3 domains right now, right? You might have the main domain that you use for your website. You might have another one for some email or something like that, right? Do not use any email that you would be upset if you lost, okay? So we don't want to use a domain that actually looks quite nice, or maybe we could use it for a website in the future, or, something like that. We want to make sure that every single email that we use is going to be something that is for, just cold email. Anything that is non-cold email related, we don't want to use. So, and like I said, the reason for this is because if those domains get blacklisted, if there's some kind of ban in place, or, because you're sending quite a lot of emails on there, there's a risk of them putting it to spam. You're going to have your main email, or an email that's important to you. So you're going to have your main domain, or a domain that's important to you, put into spam or blacklisted. Then you might have to change your website URL or things like that. And it's just a whole big headache, okay? So we use Namecheap to purchase the sending domains, right? And you can use other providers. You can use GoDaddy, you can use Squarespace. I mean, we use Squarespace for our master ones. You could use Put, a whole bunch of stuff, right? But this masterclass is going to show you how to do the domains on Namecheap, because this is the way that we've done it for the whole time, and we know it works well. Okay, so firstly, we want to go ahead and open up an incognito window. And when we're in the incognito window, we want to just double check that we're actually connected to the VPN that we were in. So this one was 6614. And then we went ahead to namecheap.com in the incognito window. Now, the reason why we use the incognito window, simply because if we sign up for anything, if we, do something and we log into an email, if we do it on our normal Google Chrome account or our normal whatever internet provider you use account, what's going to start to happen is you'll be logged into this, you'll be saving your passwords, there's a cache in place, there's cookies, there's all that kind of stuff, right? And so if for whatever reason you just open up your normal email and you're not into your VPN, sometimes it can log you into the email account that we're creating. It can log you into the domain that we're using. And at that point, your IP address is going to be associated with that domain. And so it's always a risk, but if we're in an incognito window and we just close it down, we have to sign in every time. And it's not going to be that many times that we have to sign in. So it's not really a big headache to do. And it just means that you're never going to be risking yourself logging into that account or domain while you're on a different IP. So once you're onto Namecheap, you want to go ahead and make an account. It's free, of course. And then we want to go to domains and then domain name search. Okay. And this is going to be the thing that shows you all the different domains that they have. And there's obviously millions and millions and millions here. But we need to go ahead and find .com domains that have a similar name to the original domain that you have. Okay. The reason we use .com is it just has a little bit better reputation. If we start using things like .net, .info, .club for some reason, these domains look a little bit more sketchy, and so you're much more likely to understand or be familiar with a .com domain, especially if you're emailing an American client, because what seems to happen is, if we even have a .co.uk, which is the popular one here in the UK, which is the pretty standard one, and Americans don't really know what that is sometimes, because they're just used to being .com, and so it's much easier to just all have .com domains, and it costs virtually the same a lot of the time. And so the way that we do this and make it similar to your original domain is we add a word or sometimes in a hyphen that can just make the domain just some kind of extension. Okay, so my domain, for example, is btjlabs.com, all one word, no hyphens, no nothing else. Okay, but we could have, for example, the BTJ Labs. We could have tj-labs.com, something like that. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to btj-labs.com. I'm going to search for that one, and it should be there. Perfect, and it is. And it is $10 for the year. So, not a whole deal. And so if you're looking for some kind of inspiration on what to name your domains, there's a whole bunch here. There's the domain, try domain, go domain, we are domain, domain agency, try domain agency, domain HQ, team domain, whatever it is. I'm sure you can think of something and that can give you some kind of inspiration on what to do. If you're trying to think of stuff that you just can't, maybe look at other domains and see how they do their things. For example, if there's a domain that's got a very specific word in there, like booking.com, for example, maybe there's thebooking.com. Maybe there's other businesses out there that have the word booking in their name and they have a different domain. Okay. But once we've got enough domains, then what we want to do is we want to add them to the Namecheap basket and we want to put them in the email database as well. Okay. So this is the one that I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to go to the configuration and I'm going to put this in here. So I'm going to put btj-labs.com. Okay. And what you're going to want to do in here is to put the domains that you have in here, right? So there's going to be enough space. So this one, I would only do 7. So, I might do the BTJ Labs, right? I might take that one. And obviously you just want to make sure that it's actually available. So these ones definitely will be, because my business name is, no one else has that. But if you have a business name that might be similar to something else, then you probably do want to change some things. But I could do, BTJ Labs agency, for example, and this one will be free. And I could do a whole bunch of these. Okay. But I'm just going to buy the one there and just show you how this thing works. And so just as a quick note, these are not the master domain that we're going to buy. This is just for the sending domain. And so what I put in here is I just put a little placeholder. So you can see this is the master one. And so let's say we have one of these, right? And I'm going to use, this one for the master domain. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, just like that. btjlabsagency.com. That's going to be the one that all the emails get sent to. So you just want to make sure that you don't buy the master one through Namecheap. We do that through a different method. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy this domain. There's a promo code here called newcom598. If you are a new customer, then you get the first domain like half price or something like that. But obviously I brought quite a few domains with this, so I don't get to use that one. And then if you're going to buy it, just make sure you either turn off the auto renew if you're not bothered about doing this. So for example, if you think that these emails won't last more than a year, which they probably won't, then turn off the auto renew. So you're only going to have it for 1 year and then go ahead and buy it. Okay, so once that's done, now we need to go and buy the singular master domain that we have, okay? And we use Squarespace for this. The reason because is we used to use Google domains, but Squarespace acquired Google domains, and we use Google Workspace for the master domain account that we use, the actual login and the details that we use for that. So it makes sense just to use Squarespace, and it's pretty cheap. Okay, so you want to go ahead and create a Squarespace account. If you go to domains.squarespace.com, this is going to be the platform where you can basically log in and create an account and buy your domains. And of course, we want to make sure that we're still doing this in the incognito window, and we still have the VPN are connected here, so we're still logged into that American IP address. And so once we're logged in, we're actually just going to go and copy over the warm domain and put it in here. I'm actually going to use a different one. Let me change this up because I'm actually going to buy this and I might use it. So let me just put this in here, and you can see it's available. $12, so a little bit more expensive than the Namecheap one, but it doesn't really matter all that much. If you want to find it somewhere else and then export it over, you can do. Might be a little bit more hassle than it's worth. And so once you've added it to the basket, you want to go ahead and, of course, pay for it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so once it's done, you go to your domains and it'll be here. You simply click on it. You click Manage Domain Settings. I'm just going to turn off the auto renew. So you can turn off the auto renew if you want. So the same thing again if you don't think this is going to last that long. Click Manage Domain Settings. And you want to click Email. And then if you go to pay monthly, you want to purchase the business starter account. If you're going to think you're going to use this for over a year, which you might do with the master one, then you can pay. I think it's like $60 or $70 up front for the year, or you can pay $7.20 for the month. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. And so you want to go ahead and put your name in here now. And so the username is just going to be your first name. And so basically the address is going to be ben@teambtj.com, basically just like that. And so obviously you want to put your name in here. And so once this has been done and the registration has been processing, then you're going to receive the login information on the email account that you use when you logged in, right? So this should be your personal email, your business email that you're using, okay? So we want to go ahead and use that information that's on here. So it's giving me a temporary password on this account. If I click go to Google Workspace, if I go to mail.google.com, then it's going to take me to the login page, and I'm just simply going to copy this over, just like that. And then we have the temporary password that I'm going to throw in here, and we'll be able to log out, okay? And so when you come in and you click verify, it's basically going to ask you to go ahead and put a new password in, okay? And so sometimes, I don't really know how it works, but sometimes they give you terms of service, sometimes they ask you to verify the domains and things like that. But you just want to go ahead and enter a new password and something that you can actually go ahead and remember. And then once you click through, they'll give you the terms of service. I mean, you can check through this if you want to, but you can just click accept terms of service. And then there'll be times sometimes where basically when you log into this bit, because now it's taking me to the admin.google.com like it says here, and they will ask you to verify the domain, but sometimes it doesn't for some reason. I don't really know why that is, but it has it this time. And so what we want to do is we want to click the 9 dots, and then we want to click Gmail here. And so I'm hoping this does work, because sometimes it doesn't. Okay, perfect. So it's actually logged us in straight away to the email account, okay? Sometimes what happens is it takes you back to the admin page. So you click on Gmail and it just takes you back to this page. And so if this happens, you just want to wait a few minutes, because I think the domain is verifying at this point. So it's asked you to verify the domain, and you click through and you can basically, just click verify and it will do it for you. And I think the Squarespace handles that. But if that does happen, then you just want to do that. If not, then you want to continue to this bit, okay? So we've already changed the password, okay? You can just continue with smart features. Click next, and I guess you do the personalized stuff, and then welcome to Gmail. And then we are in here, okay? And so this account needs to be set up correctly, and we're going to do that eventually. But for now, let's just close this one down and we'll come back to it later. And so what we want to do now is forward the domains, okay? So when you receive an email from someone, obviously it's going to be, ben@btjlabs. That btjlabs.com right there, that's obviously a domain, right? And people will go and search that, because if you get a cold email from someone, you don't really know who this person is, they will go and just put that into their URL. And because we're using new domains here, there's no website attached to these. And so what we want to do is we want to forward this domain to your website or to a page that you'd be happy for the prospects to see. So if you have a funnel with some testimonials on, if you have a landing page that you want them to see, then that's what we need to forward them to, okay? Because if not, they're going to get a 404 error, the website's going to be blank, and the person who's doing that, the prospect who received the email, who wants to know a bit more information and they're just doing their own research, is going to think that, maybe it's a shady company, it's a sketchy company, there's no information that they can find. And so what we want to do for the sending domains is we want to go to Namecheap, of course, we go to the dashboard, click on domain list. And then you want to go and find the domain that you've used in here. I have a bunch in here. And then you click on manage. You scroll down to the redirect domain bit here. And then we want to click the link that is underneath this, okay? And so we want to highlight the link that's already in there, okay? And we want to go ahead and paste the link that we're using, so the main domain, right? So our website is just btjlabs.com, so I can just remove this, for example, and that's going to take them to the domain that I want them to, okay? And sometimes I think it takes a few minutes, right? But if I just go and put this in here now and I can search for it, I'll see where it takes me. And then as you can see, it's working and it's going to the landing page that we want. And so you just want to check it out. Sometimes it can take a few minutes, but yeah, then it's done. So of course you want to do this for every single one of the sending domains that you have. If you have, 7, 14, 20, whatever it is, you just want to go ahead and make sure that you do it for all of these. And then for the master domain, so the Squarespace one that we have, we want to head back to this dashboard page that we have here, okay? And then we want to scroll down to domain forwarding, okay? And just click add. And then we click add rule. And so in this top bit here, we just enter an @ sign. So it's the whole domain. And then we just forward it to a specific address. So I'm just going to put in here, btjlabs.com. So there's a few things that you can tweak in here. And I don't think it matters all that much, but you just want to make sure the SSL is turned on. Then that will mean that it doesn't really matter what kind of address that they go to. They will always end up back to the address that you're looking for. And you go ahead and click save. And then like it says, 24 or 48 hours. But oftentimes I find that it is pretty instant. So if I go to teambtj.com, and then there you go, it's working straight away. Okay, so pretty cool. And now we want to go and create names for the accounts that we're using, okay? And so obviously we don't just want to send, if for example for me, I don't want to have every single account that says Ben has the same profile picture, it's all just me. What we can do is we can just create new, personas, new people, and then use those names. And what we want to do is we actually want to use female names because female names get better results. Now, I'm not sure why this is. I think that a lot of people just prefer responding to females for some reason, but they get better results. Maybe it's hard for people to actually be, negative response or to send a rude email to a female. But anyway, so there's a little link in here and this just generates names for you, okay? And you can select female. I mean, you don't have to do all female if you don't want to. And then you want to select how many you need. So I can do 21. And there's a few different settings in here that you can have, like initials and stuff like that. But I'm just going to come in here and take the first name. Now, oftentimes you might find a name in here that just doesn't look right, because sometimes they're very out there. When I come in and I paste it into the database, it's going to sort it all out for me, right? But there's a name in here, Diamond Culpepper. Now, I don't know about you, but if I received an email from Diamond Culpepper, I might be a bit, hesitant to think that's a real person. I would imagine that if I Googled that name, I'd probably be able to find a LinkedIn account, but of course there's not going to be a LinkedIn account associated with this person. So it would look a bit strange at me. So I might just change it to, some kind of generic name, right? Like Rebecca or something, right? So, I mean, that's a preference that I do sometimes if they give me a crazy name. But yeah, that's what I would do anyway. Like I've just done there, you want to just go ahead and paste it into the C3 cell. So it's just going to paste it all in here. And then for the master account, of course, you're going to be using your name. So you just want to put your name in the top and then it will automatically do it for you there. And then password creation. So we want to create a password here for all of the sending accounts. So we've just created one for the master account. And so this link here will help you to do that. I like to use at least 15 character length. And I also like to tick on the symbols as well. And it can give you like a crazy password. And obviously you can like really ramp it up if you want. And then you copy that in. And then you can paste it in here. Now, I don't think that many people are going to be trying to log into your sending accounts. Not many people are actually going to know about them in the first place. And I might actually just reduce that down a little bit. Simply because I think that maybe the email software won't accept that. But yeah, let me just go ahead and change that. And of course, you want to come in here and you want to paste it in cell F2. And then when you come to the database now, you'll see that it's in there, okay? And so what you're starting to see now is we're building out this system. So we have the VPN, we have the password in here, we have all of the emails that are automatically being put into here. And so, for example, if I had, a bunch of different domains in here, like if I had, BTJ Labs World, for example, and a whole bunch of stuff like this. And when I have the 7 domains like that, and I come into here, now every single one of these has an address, right? And it's very easy for me to come and grab that. And if I'm, logging into different emails, then it's all in there. And I have the password that I'm going to use for all of them. So super, super simple system. Don't change anything on this database. The only thing that you have to implement on your side is just the VPN, which is in there. And so now we have the names of these accounts. We have the password, we have all that stuff, but we need to go and actually create the accounts, okay? And so these are for obviously the sending domains, the sending accounts that we're going to be creating. And we want to do free professional email accounts for each of the domains, okay? So we go back to Namecheap and we go to email and then we go to business email. We want to select this middle option here. And so what you'll notice is it's $30 for the year per domain. So you get 3 mailboxes with that. And if you click on, well, first of all, I want to copy this little discount code here, and then click Get Pro. And then you want to click Use a Domain I own with Namecheap. And so you want to come in here and grab the first sending domain that you have, copy this, and then paste it in here. And then it will show. And then you click Select, and then you go Continue. Okay. And now there's a bit of a trick here. So basically, I'm just going to add this one into the cart, right? I'm just going to put this one into the cart, and I think has it already been added? I'm going to add this one to the cart here now. Come on. Cool. But if you're going to do like a bunch of different ones here, so you're going to do like a bunch of different emails and domains, if you go back through the whole process and you do it all, it takes you a while. But if you just click back a couple of times, then you can put the next domain in here and then click Continue and then do it. And you can just add them all onto the cart very quickly. And so if I go take the discount code that I talked about earlier, the mail deal one, and I go and apply that, it's going to apply that and it's going to reduce that into $30. There's actually a thing where if you hit a certain number of subscriptions, if you do this quite a lot, you can get a bigger discount, but I'll just use this one for now. And then you just want to go ahead and click Confirm Order. So now that's paid, what you want to do is go back to the dashboard. So go to the main page here, click on Dashboard, you go to your domain list, and you want to paste in the first sending email. And so what I like to do here is click right click and manage. And then you just want to right click and open them all in a new tab separately. So if you have to go back and like enter the domain in every single time and search for every time, it can be a bit of a hassle. Like for example, if I just put BTJ in there, it's going to show me all of the domains that I have, all the sending ones, and then I can open it in here. And then when you come into this bit here, you want to scroll down and click Add Mailbox. You click Create Mailbox here. And so now this is going to create the emails that we have, okay? So the first one that I used here was Jordan Kish, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the mailbox name is Jordan. And for some reason, it doesn't like you doing it in the uppercase. It's just going to be Jordan. And then the password, I'm just going to use that I put in here. Okay, so password there, storage size, and then click Save Changes. And so then we have one in here. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. It needs to be lowercase. And put the passwords in there. Sometimes it says the passwords don't match, but they do. And you just have to paste it in again, then it works. And then we're going to go create mailbox for Macy. Cool, just like that. Then click Done. And so now you can see we have 3 out of 3 mailbox that are in use for this domain. And you want to make sure that you do this for all of the sending domains. So now you have all of the email accounts created for those sending domains. Next thing is the DNS. Now the DNS is the domain name server. Now what this does is it improves the deliverability of the emails. Okay, it makes sure that we're not actually going into spam. And so there's different records and there's different things that they mean, but the 3 ones that we're actually concerned with is the DKIM, the SPF, and the DMARC. Okay, so the DKIM, it verifies that the email has come from the owner of the domain. So this might sound a little wacky, but sometimes if you receive an email, it doesn't necessarily mean that the owner of that domain has sent you that email. It could be some other actor that's at play, okay? And then the SPF, it protects your domain from spoofing. So it means it's actually harder for someone to go and spoof your domain. So basically to pretend that they're on your domain. And then the DMARC activates the spoofing reports to the email administrator to you, so you can easily see what's going on. Now, you do not have to know this. I'm just very vaguely explaining what this means, but it doesn't matter if you do or not. All that matters is that you actually implement them correctly, and when you do a check to see if they are active, that they are, okay? So we want to make sure that we do all of this on another incognito window, I mean the same one that you're using, and we're also connected to the VPN, okay? So for the sending domains, the Namecheap ones, both the DKIM and the SPF has already been configured, so we don't need to do that. The DMARC setting needs to be configured at least 48 hours after the emails have been created. So what I want you to do is just go to your phone, and if you're on an iPhone, you can just go to reminders, and you can set a reminder in 48 hours time just to make sure that you are, doing this DMARC. So come back to this in 48 hours time. You can just add this to your to-do list or anything like that. Just make a note that you have to come back and do this, okay? So after the 48 hours has passed, what you want to do when you're on Namecheap, you want to go to your domain list, find the domain that you've used. We want to right click on Manage again, so we'll open this in a new tab. And then we want to click Advanced DNS. You want to scroll down here and click on the Add New Record. Then we want to put a TXT record in here. First going to be _DMARC, just like that. You can paste it in from here. And then the value is going to be V equals DMARC1, P equals none, and then this thing in here. So all of this, paste it in here. You want to make sure that you change the domain. Okay, so this domain is btj-labs.com, just like that. And so that's the bit that you want to change, the bit that's in red, and then you click the green symbol. And so this isn't going to work properly for me because I haven't waited 48 hours, but of course you will wait 48 hours, so you don't need to worry about that. And then you want to make sure that you do this for all of the sending domains. So now this means for the sending domains, the sending accounts, we have the DMARC verified, we have the SPF, and we have the DKIM all done. Now, for the master account, the master domain, all 3 records need to be configured for, because for some reason, Squarespace doesn't like to do it. Okay, so we want to go back to Squarespace. We want to go back to the domain that we have, and then we click on Edit DNS here, and you want to scroll down to the custom records. Okay, and so you want to click Add Record. This is for the SPF. You click in the host, you want to put an @ sign. The type of record is going to be a TXT, and for the text, you just want to come in here, and you want to do this thing in here. So make sure you click all the way to the all. There is little dashes on here, which you don't want to put in. And so it's going to look something like that, okay? And then you just go ahead and click Save. For the DKIM, what you're going to do is you're going to go to admin.google.com. So obviously still doing this in the incognito window. And we're still logged in from last time. You want to click on this little button here, go to the apps, Google Workspace, and then Gmail. And you're going to click on this thing here, Authenticate Email, which says Set up Email Authentication, DKIM. Click on that. And then we're going to click on Generate New Record. And then this will pop up, and then just click Generate. Okay. Sometimes what happens here is there's an error. Okay, so it doesn't actually show us the record, but if you refresh the page, then it will show you the record. Okay. And so this is the information that we need to go and do this. Okay. And so what we want to do is we want to go back ahead to Squarespace, add the record in, and then the host of the record is going to be what was put in here. So this is always going to be the same. It's going to be google._domain key. Put that into the host there. This is going to be a TXT again. And then the data is going to be this whole thing in here. Just like that. And you're going to paste it in there and then click Save. Just like that. Okay. And so when we come back to this bit, we want to start the authentication. But it takes about 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes, sometimes up to 48 hours for it to properly start to authenticate. So if I click it now, it won't work. Okay, I mean, for some reason it has worked. I didn't think that it would work, so that was very quick. Normally it takes a few minutes, at least a few minutes. Sometimes it takes like 5-10 minutes, but it has worked. But it says stop authentication. Sometimes you will get a little error that pops up, okay? And so if it fails, just try again in a few hours. Make sure that you refresh the page, because sometimes, like I said, the DKIM code will change and they need to update it. So it didn't show me there, but if I had to click generate a new record, then it would have changed the record. But if I refresh the page, then I'm going to see the record. So it's a bit of a glitch on Google Workspace side, but if that happens, then you know what to do. And so this is now done. So for the demarc, again, we're going to need to wait 48 hours to do this, but I'll just show you how to do it now. We want to go back to Squarespace, and it's exactly the same information that we put in on Namecheap. So just as a refresher, the host name is going to be _demarc, the type is going to be TXT, and then the data is going to be this thing in here. And we want to make sure that we use the domain that we're using, right? So this one is, what is it again? It's teambtj. Cool. So teambtj.com, just like that. And then you want to click Save. Now, what you can actually do is you can just double check the demarc is active. Now, I don't believe that it will be active now because I haven't waited 48 hours. But when you've done it after 48 hours, you can just come in here and you can do a demarc lookup. So this link that's on the site. And I think, yeah, demarc not enabled. I think I've got to wait a few hours, but it's gone green here. It can actually see it and it can, it knows that it's there. But this one should go green after 48 hours. And so what you can also do on this website is you can go to the MX lookup, right? And you can search for this. It will give you some results. And then I think you can click on find problems. Okay. And so if the DKIM, if the SPF, if whatever it is isn't connected properly, if you haven't done it correctly, then it will start to show in here. And you can do this for the sending domains. You can do this for the master domains. You can do this for anything like that. Okay. And so obviously in here, the demarc isn't done, but the SPF and the DKIM is done. And if I go to show all tests, I think it's going to show me some blacklist. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. A lot of this stuff you just really don't need to know. And so if you come down to here, you can see that the SPF has been found. And I believe the DKM is going to be in here somewhere, but it hasn't shown up as a red. It says an error. It's not something to be concerned about. And so once we have the DNS set up now, we want to go ahead and actually create the email accounts for the sending domains. So if you go ahead and you go to privateemail.com, so this is what we use for Namecheap. So this is the mailboxes that we just created. Go to privateemail.com. So I'm going to open that. I'm still connected to the VPN, as you can see, and I'm still in an incognito window. And you want to log in, and then you want to go ahead and use the first email account that we just created. So we just created these ones, remember. So I'm going to put this in here. The password is here. And I could just quickly log into all of these, and I have this information here. This is one of the reasons why we have this email database that we set up here. And so it's actually pretty easy to go and set this up. So there's going to be a few things when you first log in for the first time, okay? So just click close on this thing. You might get a couple of pop-ups. So yeah, they can give you a tour and they can show you around, and obviously you can click on that if you want to. But when we come in here, we want to log in, of course. And then the first thing we want to do is click on the little profile picture in here. Well, it's not a profile picture, it just says the initials. And then we want to click edit personal data. And so the first name, for some reason, it just puts your email in there. So you want to go ahead and change that, of course. And then we want to go ahead and add a profile picture. Now, of course, if you're creating these, personas, these people, you don't have profile pictures for these people, okay? And so we like to use either AI generated or stock images of people for profile pictures. And there's some good websites that you can use here. Now, some of these websites, I'll be honest with you, are bizarre, right? If you just come in here and you refresh this, you're going to find a bunch of different photos and they're AI generated, okay? So these people don't actually exist. The website is called This Person Does Not Exist, okay? And so let's say we're going to take this person, okay? So we're going to use this one, okay? Now, what you'll notice in here is that there's actually a little bit of a symbol or some kind of code in there, right? So to basically say that this is an AI generated image. Okay, so if I come in here and I save this, what I can do is I can go to a website that's called photop.com, just like that. If you don't use this, this is basically Photoshop, but on a web browser. Okay, so we're going to use this image, and because it has a little code here, what we can do is we can just go in here and make a little screenshot. So we can cut out that. Now, you can go in and edit this photo on some kind of platform that you want or anything like that. But if I just come in here and screenshot this, it's going to do it correctly. Now, I will warn you for this. You have to kind of look out for it, because sometimes for these photos, there's something that isn't quite right and it's kind of obvious and it looks really weird. So sometimes it will like edit a hat onto someone and then almost forget that it's there. So like this guy, for example, like his glasses look kind of strange. And if you really look at it, and if someone was paying attention, then they would know. So you just have to look. And I'm trying to see if I can find one of these weird ones where they have like a weird hat or something like that. Yeah, so like this one here, right? So there's clearly the image that they've used or taken as some kind of like, a data point for this. There's someone behind it, right? And you can see there's someone here with their glasses and their eye is kind of like merged into it. So yeah, obviously you wouldn't use one like this. This is one that's more obvious, but sometimes they can be pretty subtle where it's, like a very slight difference, kind of obvious that it's not. But this website is a little bit creepy, to be honest with you. There is different ones that you can use in here. Like there's this Canva app that you can use where you can go and create a realistic image of someone. I'll just show you briefly what this would look like. You can give it a prompt and it will go and create it. Or alternatively, you can just go to, a website like Unsplash, search a profile picture, and there's a bunch of actual real people that you can go and pinch. And all these photos are copyright free. You don't have to worry about, breaching any sort of, rules or whatever like that. And you can just go in here and pinch a photo of all of these stock images. So I've gone ahead and added the profile picture on here and save. And so we want to make sure that obviously we do this for all of the accounts. But before we log out and before we go and do this for the next account, we want to set up the email forwarding. Okay, so if you go to the settings thing here and you click settings, you click on mail, and then auto forward. You want to turn on auto forward, okay? You want to go ahead and grab the warm email here, paste it in. I don't think it really matters if you keep a copy of the message or not. Well, yeah, I would keep a copy, to be honest, so it stays in this inbox as well. And then just click apply changes. And so what this is going to do now is it says email forwarding is active. So if I were to send an email to this account here, this Jordan account that I've just created, then it will automatically send to the master email. It will automatically send to that main one that we have there. It doesn't forward it. It's not as if someone forwarded you the email. It's almost as if someone just sent that email to the master accounts that we have. Okay, and so obviously then we can reply to them, and then we can manage it all in one inbox. We don't have to log into all these different accounts, and it's a really, really useful tool. And so once you've done that, you want to log out and you want to do this for all of the different accounts that we have. Of course, I'm just going to do it for this one. And so now we want to go ahead and sign back into the master email account that we have. And so remember, we set this up previously, but we didn't actually change any of the settings that we need to. Okay, and so the first thing we actually want to do is you want to go to admin.google.com, because we need to change a setting in here so that we can actually mess around with some of this stuff, okay? And so if we come in here and we go directory settings, we can click profile editing here, and then we can turn on the things that we need. So your profile picture, the gender, we don't need to turn on the name, for example, but you can do, and then just go ahead and click save. And then when you go to myaccount.google.com, so I just paste this in here, it's going to be logged into the same profile. I can click personal info, and then under basic info here, we can go ahead and add a profile picture. So I'm just adding a quick profile picture in here. There we go. Nothing too crazy, just like that. And then we want to go ahead to gender, and then turn the gender on, and then also make sure anyone can see it and click back. But sometimes what I'll tell you is that if you go onto this, it doesn't actually save it. Sometimes it says only you, so you just got to double check, go back onto it, but then it should be fine. And then just like that. And then I guess you can add a birthday if you want to. but it doesn't really matter too much, and you can start to add this information in. But all this information does just means that you're giving Google more information and saying, this is the information that we have, this is the person that I am. So you're less likely to be marked as, a spam profile, a fake profile, something like that, because the information is there. But what I would say is if you're going to add this information in, then just make a note of it, because sometimes that Google might kick you out if you log in on a different IP, and it will ask you, what is your birthday? And obviously you should know that because you entered the birthday in. So if you're going to do that, then just make a note of it. So the next thing we want to add a phone number as a verification to this account. Okay, so this is going to add not a two-factor authentication, but just some kind of backup to prove that this email account isn't just a complete dud. There's a phone number attached to this. There's something which, is an extra level of security if they need to use it. And so if you don't have one that's available, for example, if you don't want to use your normal phone number, then you can either ask a family member or a friend to basically use theirs. You can order a free SIM card. So basically, this is what I've been doing a lot of times in the UK, where you can go to certain SIM card providers and you can just order a free SIM and they will just deliver it to you. And obviously, they want you to add a contract on and to top it up and things like that. But you can actually send a verification text to that phone without having to top up the phone, if that makes sense. So it's a pretty cheap way of doing it. Or you can use a phone number from places like Go High Level, which is like $1 or $2 per month. If you're already using Go High Level, which a lot of you might be, then you can just add a phone number to that and then use that phone number. So once we have a phone number ready, you want to click security. You want to scroll down to recovery phone. Sometimes it will ask you for the password for some reason. And then you just come in here, add the phone number, put the phone number in, then click next, and then obviously you'll get a verification text, copy and paste that in, and then that is done. So super simple stuff. And then we also want to do a recovery email. So you're just going to come in here and just put your normal email or your business email in here. So for example, I'm just going to put mine in, and then it's going to go ahead and give me a little code in here. Then I'm going to verify just like that. And now we have a recovery email added. And so this is not a two-factor authentication, right? So two-step verification is off. So what this is that, if it just asks me for a bit more information, I can give it. So the account is a little bit more secure and there's a little bit more verification on the account. Now what we want to do is go to the email settings. Okay, so go back to this and it might get a bunch of different emails now from different things that we've been doing here. Okay, but what you want to do first of all, we want to make sure that spam emails are actually visible, because sometimes you get sent an email, a response from a client, a response from a prospect, and it lands in the spam, but you don't see it because it's under this little more sign. And so what you can do is you can drag and hold the spam and just move it up into this bit. So it's above the little less symbol or more symbol. And so now every time I receive a spam, I'm going to see it because I'm going to have a little notification here and it's going to go bold. So that's what we want to do. We also want to enable the IMAP settings. So if you click on the card and you click see all settings, you can go forwarding and pop /IMAP. And then you just want to click this here, enable IMAP, and then click save. And then we also want to set up a filter as well. So we go back to the settings and we go filters and blocked addresses. You want to click create a new filter here. And then what you want to do here is you want to enter a 2 5-letter word separated by a dash in the has the words box. Okay. So, words you can use for this is you want to make sure that you use words that aren't actually associated with emails, for example. So if you use the word email dash, I don't know, something else, then someone might say, don't send me emails, or, I like your email or something, and it might have the chance of blocking this, right? Because what we're doing is we're filtering these emails out, and I'll explain why we're doing this a little bit later. It'll make sense. So for example, I like to use sometimes like animals and stuff. So I can use, like foxes, ghosts, something like that, right? You click create filter, and then you want to click skip the inbox, mark it as red, and then you want to choose new label here, and you just name it warm up. Then you click create. And then we click create filter. And so there it is. And so now we also want to create a new filter here. And so what we're going to enter is demarc and report. And so the and has to be capitals because this is it's a Boolean one. So it's the ones that have both demarc and report in there. And then we want to go ahead and click create filter. Skip the inbox, mark it as red, just like that. And click create. So now we want to go back to the settings as well. We want to go to general. And then if you scroll down here, you'll see there's a part for an email signature. And you can click create new. Now you just want to name this signature. You don't have to name it anything else. You can just name it here, signature 1, and create that. And then what we want to do here is we want to paste in this format. Okay. And so if you paste it in here, sometimes it will paste a little weird, of course, but if you highlight this thing, go to text and go normal, and then you want to just put all of this information in, right? So I'm going to put, Ben Lister. I'm going to put the email account name. So this is going to be ben at teamvtj.com. And then the verification number that you used in here, and then the address as well. Now, if you use an address that you don't want to use, for example, if you have, you don't want to put your personal one on it, which is completely normal, and I would never do this. What I like to do is there's a website here called Regus. Now, Regus, I figured they have like virtual offices and stuff like that, okay? And you can actually find a virtual office. Now, if you don't know what a virtual office is, basically what it is it's just an address, and you can have the address here. They own the address, and they will go and send mail, for example. If you receive mail, they will receive that mail at the address, and then they will start to send you that mail. So it's a virtual office. You don't have to actually be located in this office. You don't have to actually use the service. But what we can do is we can come in here and we can take a virtual office that we're using. So if we search for a specific city, okay, like let's say, for example, like I live near London, right? So I can put London, UK, and there's going to be like a bunch of addresses that I can use in here, right? And so I can come in here and I can take, this one, and it's going to give me like all of these, right? So let's say I'm going to take this one, and I'm just going to take the address from this. So if I scroll down, it's here. And so I can now go ahead and put this in here, just like that. And the cool thing about this, because we have a location in this now, this is actually going to be really beneficial for your email deliverability, and it looks legit as well. But if someone goes ahead and searches this, they're now going to realize that it's basically an office, and a lot of different businesses have used this. So if you search this on an email, if you search on a company registration, for example, 81 companies that are in this address, right? So it just makes sense that, and people will realize, oh, it's just a virtual address. They don't actually use like a physical location. And obviously, that's completely fine. So you can just do that. And obviously I would put a number in here, but I haven't actually registered a number. And then what you want to do is you want to do for new emails and for replies, put signature 1, and then you want to come in here and click save changes. And just another thing to know, if you're using a friend or family member's phone number, then don't put it in the signature, simply because they might get called. So if you send an email out and someone sees that phone number and they just want to call you straight away, they might call that number. And if they do, it's going to go to your friend, it's going to go to whoever it is that you're using their phone number, and they probably won't know what's going on because you haven't told them, the specifics about your email. So yeah, don't use a phone number if you are using a friend or family member's phone number. So the next thing is labels. And so we need to add labels so they're easily categorized when they're actually coming into this inbox, and we can see how many follow-ups have been completed for each one. Okay, so if you just click on this little plus sign here, you can create a new one called emails, and then you can create another one called books, and you want to nest it under emails, just like that. And then you can do responded under emails, and then what you want to do is you want to do follow-up 1 underneath responded, okay? And so I'll kind of explain how this works in a little bit, and you can kind of do unlimited amounts of follow-ups in here. So if I just do the first 3 just to show you, just like that. And so what you can do here is, you can add as many follow-ups as you want, because this is the master account. It really doesn't matter how many you do. I honestly recommend sometimes doing as many as 10. And so you can color code these as well if you want to, but it doesn't really matter too much if you do that or not. But I've just put in a few emails, a few labels in here just so you can see. So now the master email account is basically completely set up. What we want to go and do is import it into Smartlead. So Smartlead is the choice that we have for email sending software. It's like $39 a month. Again, we want to access this in the incognito tab. Okay. And so once you've signed up, once you've logged in, you want to go ahead and open up this template in here, because what this is going to do, it means that we can actually bulk import a lot of the accounts. And so this is really a lifesaver. This took me a long time to set up. But if you go to the setup for this spreadsheet here, and you go to your email database, you just want to copy this over. Okay, so the full name, you want to come in here and copy this, come into that, and copy in full name. And then you want to come in and take the domains. Then you want to paste in the domains here. And then you also want to paste in the password as well. Just like that. And so when you go to the dashboard now, what you'll see is that all this information here has been correctly put in. So the password's been put in, all of these, the codes and stuff like that, and even some information around the warm-up of the emails. And I'll explain what that is in just a second. But all this has been put in, okay? And so because I'm only doing a few accounts here, it's not going to do all of them. And so, for example, if you're just doing the 100 per day system, and you just come in here and delete these, it does give you the option to do as many as 60. Like, so if you're doing the full 300 emails per day one, then you can do that. But obviously you can just come in here and delete these if you want. But if you don't, then it's fine, because it just won't import them because the information is not there. So you want to click File, Download, and download it as a CSV. And then when we're on Smartlead, you want to make sure you're on the Email Accounts tab. You want to click Add Accounts in the top right here. Click Choose File. And then you want to drop in the file here, right? And so it'll show you all the information in here. It'll show you all the email accounts. It'll show you that there's, 21 or so. that have actually been imported here. But of course, we haven't actually created the email accounts for all of these. We just have one of them. So it's only going to do one, I think. So, skip 39 upload because with all this on in there. And so it's going to try and do this now, but I think it will only be able to do the Jordan one. So it takes maybe 30 seconds to do one of them. So then we'll get a tick, so it's been verified, and then all of these will start to cancel. So these won't actually work. And so it looks like the first 3 of them have, because we actually did set them up, but we just didn't create profile pictures and stuff for them. So they have actually uploaded. But this is going to take you a little while. You might have, 20, 40, 60 of these to actually go and input. And so when this is happening, we want to go ahead and let's import the master account in. So if I just duplicate this page, I can click add accounts again. And then instead of going through the choose file and stuff, we want to go ahead and click this little Google symbol, this OAuth here. And so we want to copy this thing. So this is the client ID, click copy client ID. We want to open up the admin panel as well. And so it's going to be already logged into this thing. So this is of course the master domain that we have here. So if I click add app and I go OAuth app name, it's going to give me an option to put the client ID in. I click search and then it's going to come up here, Smartlead. And so you just click select on that. Tick this little box here, click select, continue, click on trusted, click continue, and then finish. Now this will verify it, and so the app has been added. And so what we can do is we can go back to Smartlead and we can click connect account. Now because we're already logged in, we just literally click on the actual master account here, and then we click continue, and then we allow it as well. And now this is going to be connected successfully, okay? And there's a couple of settings in here that I would change. Sometimes it just gives you 200 messages per day. I would change this to 50 and click save. Because we've entered the sending accounts using a different method, because we use that bulk email with the CSV, the warm-up is already turned on. If I just show you in here, the settings that we automatically have in here are already turned on. So the warm-up has been enabled. There's 30 per day, ramp up of 1, and a reply rate of 30. But on the one that we just imported here, the warm-up won't be on, okay? So the daily ramp-up, we're going to believe is 1. We're going to change this to 30 maximum and minimum 25, like that. The reply rate is going to be 30, and then total warm-up per day is going to be 30 in here. And then we just click, sometimes that happens, so you've got to drag it down to 25, and then we just click enable. And then we click OK, and then that is all done. Okay, so now it is active. And so what's going to happen now, because we've turned what's called the warm-up on, is the sending accounts and the master email accounts are going to be receiving and sending dummy emails, right? Emails that are being sent to other people that are using Smartlead and using the warm-up feature. And it's going to start with 1 per day, and it's going to ramp up to 30 per day. So of course, if we change the ramp up to 2, to 5, to 10, then that's the amount that it's going to increase every single day. So if we change it to 10, then it's only going to take 3 days to get to the 30 per day, okay? And so the purpose of this is so that email providers don't see a sudden spike in emails. There's not these new email accounts and they just all of a sudden are sending, hundreds of emails every single day. This domain has gone from 0 to, 100 emails in a couple of days, whatever it is. So we're gently starting to warm up these emails and say, okay, 1 email today is fine, 2 tomorrow is fine, 3 the day after is fine. And we're slowly getting to that point where we're actually warming these up, because it's very natural to do that, right? Rather than just creating an email today and then go and send in 40 emails the next day. And so after 14 days, the emails are going to be ready to start sending out cold emails. So we have these warm-up emails, and we also have the cold emails. So you always want to make sure that you leave the warm-up on and you just leave it in the background, okay? We also need to change the email warm-up identifier tag. So basically, what this means is that every single email that we receive from these, these dummy emails will have some kind of tag in there. And so what this means is that you're going to be able to filter this so that we can't see that. Now, if you remember, we created a filter that said Fox's Ghost, right? 2 5-letter words. I would recommend not doing Fox's Ghost, because a lot of people might do that. They might copy now. So if you use that warm-up tag, a lot of people will do. So just create one of your own. And so what we're going to do here is we need to make sure that the tag that we're using on Smartlead actually is the tag that we've set up, okay? So I think this is now completed with the sending ones. Of course, there's just 3 there. So these are the 3 ones that we have. Of course, you're going to have 14, 20, whatever it is, 60. You might have a lot of these, okay? And so if I just highlight all of these, it's going to give me an option to click bulk update. And so now this is going to mean that I can change all of the information, all of the stats and the settings for this account at the same time, okay? And so what we're going to do in here is we're going to put exactly what we put in the filter. So it's Foxes and Ghost, and then I click save. Just like that. And I'm also going to go ahead and do it for the the warm one that we have. So I don't have to bulk update it here, but I'll just show you how it works. So Foxes, Ghost, click save. Okay, perfect. And so now when I open this one up and we go to warm up, you will see that the setting has been saved as Foxes and Ghost, just like that. And so what's now going to start to happen is, because we've created this little label here, all of the warm-up emails that we receive are going to start to land into this, because they're going to be looking for something that says Foxes Ghost. And so every email that has that phrase in, which they all will because they're warm-up ones, will go straight into the warm-up folder, and you won't see them, you won't get a notification for them or whatever it is, they'll just go straight into there and you won't have to deal with them. Okay, and so now we've set up all the accounts. Now we want to move on to deliverability. So email deliverability is simply how many of your emails land into the inbox rather than the spam. So you can very much have a bit of a ratio, right, where your email deliverability is 90%, because 90% of the emails that you're sending out, your cold emails, are landing in the inbox and not in the spam. And so a lot of the email system that we've set up so far has had deliverability in mind. And so swaying from this, changing things because you don't want to do it or you're trying to cut corners and stuff, that's going to harm your deliverability. Now, deliverability is by far the most important aspect of any email system, because I would argue that, like I've wrote here, 80% of the success is going to come from this, because if prospects can't see the emails, if they don't see the emails because they land in the spam, and not many people do check their spam, and if they do, they don't trust emails that have landed in spam, because why would you? Then your copywriting, your offer, your follow-ups, every little thing that we've just done there doesn't actually matter, because no one's going to see it. But if prospects are seeing your email, then the worst email copy, the worst kind of offer, they're going to be seen by someone. And so they have a small chance. But if you're landing in the spam, then you literally have zero chance of booking appointments. So it's almost like the bedrock. If deliverability fails, then the whole system fails. And so that's why it's so important to get it right. So now that we've gone ahead and turned the warm-up on, the warm-up has begun for the sending accounts, for the master accounts, we want to mark the date that it is, okay? And because the cold emails can start 14 days after. Now, if you want to go ahead and make it 15, 20, 30 days, just to have that little bit more security, then you can do, but we need to wait 14 days. So I would go ahead and mark the date. Today is the 28th of February, so that's going to be the 13th of March that these emails can actually go live. So just go ahead and make a note of that. We also want to make sure that we set up the custom tracking domain, okay? So even if you don't track the open rates and the click-through rates, then we want to make sure that we still do this, because it still helps the deliverability of the emails. So for the sending accounts, what we want to do is you want to go to Namecheap, we go to the dashboard, we go to the domain list, and then we want to open up the manage section again. Make sure this is a new tab, just makes it easier. We go to advanced DNS, and then again, we want to add a new record in here. Okay, and so the new record is going to be a CNAME, just like that. And in the host, you're going to enter email tracking, and then you're going to enter open.sledtrack.com is the target, just like that. And then you're just going to click the tick the save changes. And you want to repeat this for all of the sending domains that you have. And then for the master domain, of course, we want to go to Squarespace, and we want to click on it, go back to this this dashboard that we have here, and then you want to click on edit DNS. So similar thing to what we did before with the DNS things, and you want to click add a new record, and then we're going to go ahead and input the same information that we did last time. So the host is going to be email tracking, it's going to be a CNAME, and then the value is going to be this here, and then you're just going to go ahead and click save, just like that. And so now the master domain is done. And so now what we want to do is go back to Smartlead, go to the email accounts that we have. So again, we want to do a bulk update here. So we can click on this, we can go to general, and then we want to tick this here, use a tracking domain, okay? And then all we want to do is we just want to go in and put the actual domain in. So you can't do this, for example, for all of the ones that you've done. So we can't do this for all 60. You have to do this as a bulk one, just for the individual domain. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and put ptjlabs.com, just like that. I'm going to click status, and then the CNAME is going to be verified. And so I can click save. And so then it's done. Okay, and I'm also going to head and do this for the master one as well. And I can go ahead and click save. Okay, and so you want to repeat this for all the sending domains and the master domain, of course. And sometimes it could take a few minutes from when you've actually entered the CNAME in to when it actually verifies it. So when you get this little symbol here and it says CNAME verified, sometimes it can take a few minutes. If it is happening, just come back and do it in 30 minutes time. Now, what you might notice here is there's a reputation score, okay? And this one says NA because no emails have actually been sent. But what starts to happen eventually is you will get a score on here, a percentage, right, between obviously 0 and 100. And if you have sent, 100 emails, 100 warm-up emails in the last 30 days or so, and 50% of them have gone to the inbox and 50% have gone to the spam, then it's going to give you a 50% reputation score. Obviously, the higher the score, the better. And so what this is going to tell you is whether the email accounts are actually being set up correctly, if you've done things right. If you're getting below 90%, then you probably don't want to send cold emails out on these. You probably want to turn off the cold email and just keep the warm-up on for a while. But that's kind of like the metric that we look for, 90% or so. So, I mean, if you're getting way lower than that, I would think that you've probably messed something up and you might need to restart the process or just turn on warm-up for a long time rather than, doing any cold emails or anything like that. But yeah, that's the kind of metric that we use to make sure that we're actually landing in the inbox and things are set up as they should be. Okay, so that is pretty much all of the setup that we have in terms of actually making sure that you land in the inbox. Now, just because we're landing in the inbox and just because we are actually, doing the right things from an infrastructure and email setup thing doesn't mean that we are now all of a sudden in the clear and things are fine. Because I know it's a big part of the email system, but it doesn't mean that we've done everything correctly and now we can relax and we're going to make 10K a month tomorrow, okay? Once we have everything set up, okay, we want to make sure that we have a list of prospects that we can send these emails to, okay? And this is such an important part of the email campaign because you won't book any meetings without having leads who are a fit for what you do and they're looking for what you're selling. And so we want to avoid leads that have been sent a lot of cold emails as well, because oftentimes these guys are pretty numb to cold email and they just delete things straight away. And obviously you can avoid this by sourcing emails that are more difficult to find. So there's two different methods that we like to use here. There's lead scraping. So there's going and finding a bunch of leads that are already out there that have been generated and, scraping them from a website or a platform. And then there's also lead generation, which is a more manual approach. And so I'm going to show you the lead scraping now. So this is going to give you a high volume of leads for less money, less effort, but these leads are likely going to get you less or lower amounts of results than if you generate the leads for yourself, because these guys have often been sent a lot of cold emails because they're very easy to generate leads. And so a lot of people do just go for the easy option. They do just go for, scraping leads and finding tons of these. And so if you do go down that route and you go down the route that everyone's done and you take less effort to do this, then you can expect lower results. So first of all, there's a website here called Magically Genius. Now, this is basically a scraper that we use for Apollo. So if I just come in here and reset this, what you'll see is that when we do 1,000 leads, it just costs $4 per 1,000 leads. So super, super cheap. If you want to run this for a week, you could have, $4 or $5 cost to your leads, which is actually insane. But if I just show you how this thing works, we go over to Apollo. You can start to add in different filters, right, for things that, are very important. And so I believe there's going to be none on here, but yeah, there's 276 million people in the Apollo database right now, and this is rising. I think it was like 274 million before when I last checked. So it's always increasing. So you want to start to filter it based on, the industry that you're targeting. Okay, so the first thing that I would always go to is I would go to email status, and I would click verified. Okay, there is this likely to engage thing, which I think is pretty new, and I'm not sure how many emails are actually on this. I don't think that many. So out of 270 odd million, there's only 19 million that are doing it. I wouldn't mess with that. I would just go for it verified. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can do in here, right? If you need a company with a specific amount of employees, then you can do that. If you need a company in a specific country, then you can do that. So, let's just go in here and put United States in, for example. And then we want to go into industry. And so some of the industries on here, for example, like they don't actually, like I go for home improvement, it won't be there. But what we can do is we can go include the keyword, remodeling. Okay. Add that. And we have 13K in there. So this is just for remodeling, right? If I do kitchen remodeling, I'm sure I can add a few more in there. If I do bathroom remodeling, maybe I can add some more in there. Looks like it's staying the same. Maybe I can use some keywords from some of the ones that these are doing here. So outdoor remodeling, maybe different things like that. So maybe I can do like home renovation. And I can start to add in these keywords and get a bigger and bigger and bigger list. So you can see now this has gone from 13,000 to 16,000, and I can add all these different ones in here, okay? And so now, for example, let's say I want to target larger companies, okay? I don't want to target anyone with less than 5 employees. So I can do a custom range, and I can go max, or minimum, 5 employees. Just like that. And so now we've removed a little bit of the ones. And then a big one here, you want to do job titles. So a lot of these guys, I think the ones at the front will have good job titles. They will be, owners, project managers, but we don't want to target the designers because the designer is not going to be the one making the decisions on a lot of our ER marketing. So if we're targeting these guys to sell marketing services to, then the designer is going to have nothing to do with that. Okay. So we want to do, owner. For example, we want to do founder. Okay, we want to do president. And we can start to add all of these different ones in, and we can start to add in, director, all of these ones, and we're starting to get more and more and more. And I'm sure if I could come in here and I can do CEO, for example, and I can start to build a list. And now this list is pretty small. We have verified all of the emails on here, and obviously we can open this up to Canada. We can change the amount of employees, for example. I think this is the big one. Maybe if I knock it down to 3 as a minimum, we're going to get more and more. But this is a list that we have in. It's not actually all that big, to be honest with you, but I'm sure you can add in more. This is just for modeling. You could add in, a bunch of different stuff like that. But once we have this list here, all you want to do is go ahead and copy this URL. So the URL is actually going to show you the kind of filters that you have been using, like CEO and director and all that kind of stuff. Go over to this thing here, the Apollo script that we have, paste in the link, and then you want to put the number of leads that you want. So this one is 1.8K, so I'm going to put 2,000. You go ahead and put your email in there. Click submit, you go and pay for it, and then it takes about 20 minutes for this to actually come through. And so once it's been sent to you and it's come through, you're going to get a lead list like this. And so I've used this one before. This is an old one that I've just used again. And so it looks kind of hectic. And I'll just very quickly show you how you sort this thing out. So the index and the ID, I'm just going to get out of there because I think it's something to do with Apollo, but I'm just going to remove it. But the order that we want these things in, right, is we want to sort them to, business name, full name, first name, last name, LinkedIn, website, and then the email and personal email as well, okay? And so I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of these now. Okay, so just like that. So what we now want to start to do is, because obviously we want to make sure that we use some of the emails that we have. Okay, so some of them have a personal email, some of them have a normal email. And so, for example, if we just use email or we just use personal ones, then we're actually going to lose a few leads. And so there's a formula that I like to use in here. If you just come in and you take this, if you have it in this right order, I think it literally works the same. If I come in here and remove that, just like this, and obviously it's going to be G3 because we are using on this row here. Just like that. What this formula is going to do here is this pretty cool formula is basically if they have an email that's on here, then we're going to use that. But if they don't, then we'll use the personal email. So if I remove this now, it's going to actually give me this one. Okay. And so I can use this and I can call it email to use. And I can drag this down for a whole bunch of stuff like this, like all the thousands of these that we have on here. Okay, and so if I come in here and I copy this, and then I do Shift Command V, what this is now going to do is it means that we actually have these to edit. So before, if I just undo that, it's going to be a formula, okay? But if we come in here and we go, pay special, which is the values only, so it's the Command, Shift, and V, then I can edit these all now. So I can start to maneuver this around. So I can use this, and I can get rid of these, just like that, okay? And so there's a few things in here you want to do to sort, clean it out and that. If we come in here and I go data and I create a filter, I can filter out the blanks, for example. So I can just put in blanks. And then I can come in here and remove all of these blank ones, because obviously they don't have an email. Obviously, if they have the name of them is here, so if you have a virtual assistant where you want to do this in your own time, then you could go and find these ones. And so we're going to delete all of these. So it's going to remove the ones without an email. And then if I come in here and turn the filter off, then it's just going to get the ones with an email. And of course, you want to come in here and just start to work your way through these. Sometimes the name isn't there, so you can, you can edit the name. Sometimes the website, for example, just isn't someone that's related to what you're doing. So this is for coaches. So, you might find one that's a consultant group. Maybe you don't want to work with a big group. Maybe you want to work with individual coaches, right? Just things like that. And so you can start to filter through this, and then now you actually have a quite a big lead list here, and it's taken you virtually no time at all. And then when it comes to generating leads through a manual way, creating the lead list yourself and manually sourcing these leads is going to take you more time, it's going to cost you more money, but you will get much better results from this. In my experience, this is the way that we do it for a lot of our clients, simply because the results are a lot better. And so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a new spreadsheet. Just close all these ones down. And you want to create cells like this. Okay, so we want to come in here and create business name. You want to do full name, first name, last name, or website, and then email. just like that, okay? And so now, depending on the niche that you're in, you want to find some kind of directory, some kind of thing that we can use to basically go and find more of these people. This could be a social media channel. This could be a directory like I'm going to show you now. But for example, if you're going to do real estate, you can use Zillow to go and find the real estate agent. So I'll just open this up quickly and I'll show you how we can do this for Zillow. You go to Agent Finder and then you just put in your neighborhood, right? Whatever it may be. Now, the thing about it is you want to make sure that you are, even when you're doing this, you're going and finding areas or people that have probably not been sent a lot of cold email. If you go for Zillow, for example, and then you just go straight in for New York, like the biggest place in the world, and any specialties, right? And you'll just go, boom, go find someone. Okay, so it actually doesn't let me do New York simply because it's too big. But if I go and put Manhattan, for example, like the biggest area and the biggest place, then you're going to find all these people and they're going to start to filter it based on who has the most reviews. Now, this person here, Teresa Stevenson, she has almost 1,200 reviews on here. She's very well connected, clearly. She's done 74 sales in the past 12 months. She probably gets a lot of cold email. She probably gets so many people emailing her about different things. And so I would really recommend not trying to email her because she probably gets a lot of them and you're probably going to have a lot of competition there. So instead of doing that, what I like to do is if you come into, the American map wherever you are, I mean, I obviously don't know a lot about America, okay, but I can come into here, for example, into Wisconsin, into Appleton. Now, this looks like a, decently sized place. It's not tiny, okay, but I can now come into here and I can search for Appleton and I can just search that. And I want to double check that this is the right place here, Appleton. And so what you can start to see is there's still some big guys, right? There's still some people who have, 600 plus reviews. But the cool thing about this is when we go down to a little bit further, there's guys who have 6 reviews, guys who have 9 reviews, like for example, how many cold emails do you think that this guy gets? I don't think that many, unless he's on some kind of list somewhere, unless you think he's doing something else, and putting his name out there. I don't think he's getting a whole lot of emails. And so if you want to go ahead and find this guy's email, oftentimes you can see it. It's literally just on this website, or it will be somewhere, for example. So he has a website. So if I just go to his website, which looks like not his actual website itself, I can go to his Facebook, and there we go. Dylan's email's right there. Okay, so I copy this over. I can, take his email, put it in there, and this guy, like it says there, is Dylan Dearson. Cool, Dylan Dearson, and then his name. It looks like he has some kind of name in his Facebook profile. What was that? Wisconsin real estate expert. Is that his thingy? Smart real estate group. Cool. I'll just put that in there. And then his website, I can either go and pinch this, just like that. And so now I have a lead, and this lead probably never, ever gets hit up. It's taken me 2 seconds to do that. It really doesn't take a lot of time. But you can come in here and you can get a VA to do this. You can show them this video itself and show you how to do this. And then you can just go and find a bunch of these guys. And, if you remember on here, I think there's like 20 pages on these ones. There's a lot of different pages, and they're all in this tiny little place in America. And obviously, someone might be watching this from this place now and might think, this is not actually that small of a place. But if you look around, there's all of these different places. Like what about Stephen's Point? Like all of these different places here where I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of people that you can find. And so there's a lot of different places. And so using that same formula, you can go into a place like Better Business Bureau. I don't know if I'll actually get, yeah, cool. And so you can come to any place here. Like let's go for Appleton again. Appleton, Wisconsin. And I can search for remodeling, just like that. And so what you're going to find is there's 8,000 results for that near Appleton, Wisconsin. And so if I close the distance down a little bit, like 10 miles, you're going to change it to like 179. But this is still a tiny, tiny area. And this is like a day's worth of emails, a day's worth of leads just by this one tiny town. And so, you can go through thousands of these towns in America, quite a few in Canada, a few in the UK, Australia, whatever else, and you're going to find a lot of these leads. And so it's going to be pretty easy for you to go and find leads. And all you do for stuff like this is you come in here, you can either email this business by just going and finding their email, or you can just search them up on Google, Studio Kitchens of Appleton. And here's the information. They have a LinkedIn page. They have a house page as well. So there's going to be information on how to contact them on there. And then you can just go and get the information there as well. And obviously you want to find the business owner name. So I can come in here and put owner. Okay. And they have some kind of employees, it looks like. Okay, cool. People. And it looks like they're all private. I mean, there's like this Glenn guy here. One thing to note as well is you can actually just come in here and go for the Google reviews oftentimes. So if there's some kind of reviews in-house or on Yelp or something like that, you can just check in the reviews, and sometimes they'll say like, oh, like Steve did a great job of my kitchen, and then you can just put the name as Steve, right? And you can just send an email and say, hey, Steve, because Steve's probably going to see it because he's the guy that's in charge and he's on a lot of the reviews. And so this is one that doesn't have a whole lot of information out there. Some of them don't, to be honest. But there you go. Spoke with Eric over the phone. So I would come in here and I would put the name as Eric, and I would just put it first name. Sometimes you don't actually need the surname because you're just going to put, hey, Eric. And so, like I said here, to find the information we need, director listing, review the social media pages, the Google reviews, articles that are out there. If you just Google the name and you Google the business, you'll find a lot of stuff. You might come across multiple emails for each lead. And so if that happens, then you want to pick the best one based on what's likely to be the decision maker. Okay, so we want to make sure that we do, owner name at domain. So we could do, Eric at Studio Kitchens, or we could do, Studio Kitchens at Gmail. That'd probably be the next best one. And then we could do, Eric Studio Kitchens at gmail.com. Then it'll be Studio Kitchens at gmail.com. And we could do info at Studio Kitchens, or then support at Studio Kitchens. And so this would be the ranking. So this would be the best one. This would be the worst one. But to be honest, they probably all work at that point. And so when you're finding emails as well, a good tool to use is snov.io. Now, if I just come and find, one of these guys' website, for example, there's this one here, KAB Construction. I can open this up and I can open to snov.io. You can literally just create a free account and it will give the information. And then it will start to tell you, so sales, office. And so these are the ones that are on here. And obviously, if you go to the contact, they might just tell you this information anyway. But I don't think it does, actually. I don't think the email, they actually send it out too much. Oh, there's this one here that you can use. But if that wasn't there, for example, then you can use snov.io. This gives you a bit more information. And then there's also a tool as well called Prospio, I think it's pronounced. Basically, I'm not sure about using free accounts, because you can use free accounts on snov.io and just keep making new ones. But Prospio apparently has more emails out there, so that you can go and find a little bit more emails. But yeah, some good tools that you can use. So then when you've actually found these leads and you have like a million tabs open because you've been finding all these leads, what you want to do is go to this website called NeverBounce. Now, NeverBounce is a paid tool, okay, but there is a lot of free features that you can use with this. And so we want to verify that these emails actually work, because just because an email is on a website or you've seen it on a social media page doesn't mean that it's actually the right thing. It doesn't mean it's actually correct, okay? And so we want to make sure this email is actually active and it doesn't bounce, because if we get more than 5% of our emails bouncing, it can affect our deliverability, it can affect our reputation as a domain, as an email account, and so we don't want that to happen, okay? And so we can basically scrape this list for free using NeverBounce, okay? And so what you're going to do, say, you have all of these emails in here, and we have, let's say hundreds of thousands in here, whatever it is, right? We can download this as a CSV, just like that. And then we can click on here and we can go clean. And then when we go on clean, let me just delete this. Delete. And then we can drop in a file here. And this, of course, has got like one email on, right? So it's probably going to say 100%, I think. And I can just click analyze the list for free, or say 0% bounce rate. Okay, cool. And so look, basically, because there's only one email, less than 1%, it's basically zero. And so say this list may not require cleaning. So we can actually use this list. If the list is above 5, then what you can do is click clean the list, and you can use credits. Now, this would actually cost you to do it. It is pretty cheap if you buy a lot of credits and you're going to do a lot of this. But in order to save your email accounts, it's probably worthwhile doing. And so you can use the amount of credits that you have and just basically scrape. There's only one record in the list. If you have 2,000 in there, it's going to cost you, a couple of dollars. But you can do that and then scrape it, and it will tell you which emails are actually not working. So you can either delete those or just go and find new emails for those. Okay, so that is verifying the leads. And so now we have a lead list that has been verified. We've just scraped it. We've done it manually, and we have a lead list that works. So we now have email accounts that are set up. We have people to send the emails to. Now we need to find what to say to them. And so this is where the copywriting comes in. And now this can be its own masterclass. Like if you want to be an expert at copywriting, then, you're probably going to need thousands of hours researching, perfecting, doing some writing, things like niche research, offer creation, psychology. There are its own masterclasses on its own, okay? But you do not need to be an expert in order to make 10 to 20K per month. This is if you really want to excel at things. If you want to really scale and have that, crazy skill of actually doing all these things separately, then that's fine. But in order to make 10 to 20K, you do not need to be an expert in these things individually. So understanding the niche and what will make them interested in your offer will set you apart from the competition, right? And it's going to help you to build instant rapport with that prospect. So niche-specific language that you use will be important to letting the prospects know that you're familiar with the industry and you've done this before. So when I was emailing contractors, we would use the words jobs instead of leads or prospects or appointments or anything like that. And we would make reference to platforms that many of them had used before, like Angie's List. and that was basically crucial and resonating with the prospect. So if we talk about, for example, you can have this many leads without using Angie's List. I know you've probably tried Angie's List before and it's not worked well for you because it had a really bad reputation. Then these people know that I'm in the industry, I'm familiar with it, I'm speaking their language. And if you don't know what words and phrases to use, then you want to spend time on the niche Facebook groups, call the niche, ask if you can interview them, just research what kind of words the top services are using. So for example, if there's a marketing agency out there that is doing well and they're working with a niche that you're working with, just see what they put on their website, see what kind of languages they put, see what kind of terms and phrases they use. And if you just replicate that, you're probably not going to get as good of results as them. It's a starting point, it's somewhere where you can actually start to understand the niche a little bit and understand how these people talk. And so the tonality of the email copy is also going to be important. You're not going to be booking many appointments with dentists, with lawyers, with hedge fund managers if you have a playful and a humorous piece of copy. However, that strategy is probably going to work better in the creative fields if you deal with agencies, if you deal with content creators, maybe e-commerce businesses. And so you just want to be careful with the kind of words and the phrase that you're using. I wouldn't be putting smiley faces if I was going to email lawyers, for example. And so each niche is going to have common problems as well that need to be solving, okay? And just demonstrating that you understand these problems is going to help to really build that rapport, right? Things that they deal with on a daily basis, things that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. We want to just basically build that connection and just say, I am one of you without actually saying that, okay? And so this is going to be done, it's going to be heavily specific to each niche. And so it's very difficult for me to give examples. But in the contractor space, for example, we would always make fun of Angie's List, Home Advisor, Bark, something like that, because it resonated closely with the niche. And a lot of contractors had wasted money on those services. They'd not actually, had much success with them. And when they think of these lead platforms, they have a generally bad experience. So we could dunk on them. We could basically say, these email platforms are no good. Ours is way better than this. And so if we went into super clear details, it's going to really move the needle. And so, a one-liner that we had was you're probably tired of paying $75 for a lead from Angie's List that has already spoken with a competitor or doesn't even answer the phone in the first place. So that's a very specific thing. Now, if that's happened to someone, which a lot of them it has, then they basically feel like you're speaking directly to them, right? Oh my God, that's happened to me. This person knows my problems. This person knows what I'm dealing with. So surely they have a better chance of solving it, right? Like I said here, you aren't able to know that without actually being really incredibly knowledgeable of the industry that you're in and understanding what is actually going on. And so this can also work for understanding the characteristics of niche, displaying that you're aware of things like seasonality changes, the employee count, change in the industry, things like that. These are all going to demonstrate that you know more about the industry that you're working in. It's going to build that rapport. And so the offer. To define it simply, the offer is what you're giving to clients. Again, this could be its own masterclass. It really could be, thousands of hours going through, how to really be an expert in this, but you don't need to be an expert in this to make that kind of money. So your offer isn't Facebook ads, it's not Google ads, it's not content creation, it's not the actual thing that you do. It's the result that your client will get from using those things. And so if you're selling advertising, it's most likely leads or appointments. You're not buying a drill, you're buying the hole that it creates. You're not buying curtains, you're buying the dark room. You're not buying designer clothes, you're buying the status that comes with that, right? The social status that comes with that. And so just be very aware if that's what happens. And so just be aware that that's really how it happens. And so whatever you're selling, the product will come back to three things. It's going to be more money, more time, more health. 99% of times it will be stuff like that, right? More leads get you more money, which means you can outsource your tasks, which means you can spend more time with your family. Better health means you can live longer, which means you can watch and help your grandchildren grow up, right? This is the thing that you're selling. It's not the actual fact that you are selling Facebook ads. And so all good offers are also going to limit the risk on the client side. And so all good offers are going to limit the risk on the client side, and they're also going to add risk to the service provider, right? This is going to give the client more confidence that you can actually deliver on what you're selling, and therefore there's a higher chance of them buying. And things like working for free until you hit a certain result, refunds if targets aren't being met, pay per performance deals, they all give confidence to a client. So I recommend, all of those. And the more specific your offer is, the better. I'm going to present two offers to you. And just, you think, what do you think would be more appealing to you? If I said, hey, we can get small businesses clients through email marketing. Or if I said, we can get e-commerce marketing agencies with less than 5 employees, high ticket clients through automated organic outreach methods. Now, almost everyone watching this video is going to resonate with this in some way. They're actually going to be like, yeah, this is me, but they don't care because it's not specific to them. But there'll be some people out there that are doing e-commerce marketing. They do have less than 5 employees. They do sell high ticket services, right? And they want to have some kind of system that uses, automated organic outreach methods because they don't want to do the work. And so for that small people of that small section of people that are watching this video that resonate with this, they're going to be much more likely to speak to me. And so, like it says here, even though the offer is targeting a much bigger market, offer 2 is going to attract more prospects because it is so specific. And the people that meet that criteria are going to be very receptive to it. And so everyone watching that video is going to be in offer number one, but no one is going to be interested in that. And then we want to also qualify with the copy. Okay, so a great way to make sure that you're only booking calls with the kind of prospects that you want to is to qualify with the email copy. You do this by making it clear that you're looking for certain types of prospects who meet a certain type of criteria. Okay, so this can be done in a way so that it's not obvious that what you're doing. For example, you can say, we're set to work with 50 e-commerce businesses that already make 7 figures or more. We've developed a system that has successfully scaled 100 remodeling businesses with less than 10 employees to 100K per month. Now, if, for example, you're a business that has 50 employees, you're probably going to think, okay, well, maybe this one isn't for me, and you're not going to book a call. If you're a business that doesn't do 7 figures, then you're probably not going to book a call because you know that you're not looking for that. And so if you're actually struggling to book appointments in the first place, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you are and you're booking appointments with the wrong kind of people, then I would recommend using this kind of language. Now, the framework. So there's many different frameworks that you can use here, right? And you can really create email copy in many different ways, but the one that we've used to great effect is what we call the COPPA framework: compliment, offer, proof, and then action. So compliment is basically where you add a layer of personalization into the email copy in the form of a compliment, of course. You want to be as specific as possible here, okay? So we don't want you to say like, hey, Steve, I like your business. We want to say, hey, Steve, I was researching contractors in Florida who offer kitchen remodeling, and I was really impressed with the work you've uploaded online. Now, this is a bit more specific. However, every single remodeling contractor in Florida has uploaded work online. 99% of them have, so you can definitely make a guess here that they have done that. And so people are going to be more receptive to that because they think that it actually is personalized to them. But 99% of people have done this. And so, it makes sense for you to say this, and they're not going to feel like, they're doing this to everyone. And everyone has actually done this, so they're going to be able to resonate with that. And then the offer as well. So we need to make sure that we transition into the offer. And the reason that why we're emailing in the first place, I would try to avoid an obvious bait and switch here, ease them into the offer basically, because if we dive right in and we basically say, we can get you more work, it probably is not going to work, right? So I would just give a little bit of an introduction. It got me thinking, the reason I was researching in the first place. And so example here, it got me thinking because we've actually got 15 leads in need of remodeling work in Florida. Could you take those in the next month? So this is our offer, right? 15 leads in the month. Now, you probably get offered leads all the time. So if you can take those on and you don't actually get 15 leads, then you can have them for free. You don't owe me a penny. So you can see how we have an offer in here, okay? But we're structured in a way so that we're almost conversing with it. We're not just saying, this is our offer, 15 leads or a refund. We're saying this is what we can do. And if we can't do that, then you don't owe me a penny. Very conversational. Now, obviously, because we're dealing with contractors, we're dealing with people who are doing remodeling in Florida, we want to be very, very specific with our tonality. We don't want to be, super forthright. We want to be a bit informal. We can do this. But if I was messaging or emailing lawyers, then I'm not going to do this, okay? And so notice how we said here that we've got the offer rather than we can get them the offer. I've actually got 15 leads for you here, Steve. Could you take those? Rather than saying, I'm confident that I can get you 15 leads. Subtle difference, but it's going to make a big difference in the results that you get. And now proof. So every good cold email needs some kind of proof and evidence in there that you can actually do this and you've done this before. Even if the offer has limited risk, giving the proof is going to help the person reading this to set you above the competition. It's going to make them think that you are much better than everyone else because you have done this before. And there's many agencies out there who are doing this for the first time, and people know that. And so you want to add that layer of confidence in there by doing this. And so this works well as some prospects are going to resonate with a good offer, some will resonate with social proof, and you're basically covering both sides here. So you have a good offer, and now you're having some proof in there as well. And so, for example, if you're wondering why I can make such a claim, we've actually done this for over 50 contractors this year alone. I work with John Smith from Smith's Remodelers in Jacksonville, got him 18 leads in a month, and also Jane Doe from Doe's Kitchens in Tampa, got us 16 leads in a month, right? So this is, again, very, very conversational, but we're giving specific examples here. If this person, this Steve that we're reaching out to, if he researches this person, he can actually see that this is a real business, right? And he can understand that a little bit more. And so, the tonality is super laid back, it's relaxed, and like I said, you wouldn't use this tonality for more corporate niches. And so, if you don't have case studies as well, just focus on what you're set to do. If you're wondering why I can make a claim, we're set to help 50 remodeling businesses this year rather than we have done 50 remodeling businesses this year. And so the next section is going to be action. So the call to action at the end of the emails is crucial to actually getting the prospects over the line and booking an appointments. And so by limiting the effort and the friction that we have here, the prospect is going to be far, far more likely to book the appointments. And so if you ask a prospect, do you want an appointment? Would you like an appointment? They would need to be on the right end of this scale here to say yes. They would need to be up here, I want to book an appointment. But if you ask a prospect, are you against booking an appointment? As long as they are within this section here, so from, like 25% onwards forward, then they're much more likely to say yes, because they can answer, I'm not against it, because they're somewhere in the middle, so it means we have more chance of getting the yes. So example, if you've got a minute next week, it would be good to hear from you. Would you be against setting up a time for a call? And so, keep the call to action as short as possible. We don't want it to be multiple lines. It just needs to be one precise action. Would you mind this? I wouldn't ask multiple questions throughout because we want them to answer the one question that we have, which is, would you be available for a call? Would you be against having a call? So no matter what copy framework you use, you just need to make sure that every word is useful here. There's no parts of the emails that could be removed and would still have the email would have the same effect. And so the leads need to understand that what you're offering, why you're confident that you can do that. And basically that needs to be in as few of words as possible. So if they start to read things that don't appeal to them, then there's more chance of being put off by the email. They start to read things that, they just get a bit bored sometimes. If it's too long, then, your offer isn't going to be the thing that they're going to be focusing on. They're going to be thinking about, different things, or they're going to be distracted by certain things, or they're just not going to like the email because it's way too big and it's way too long. Next is the subject line. So the subject line's task is to just get prospects to open the email. Therefore, it's not too important. As long as they're actually opening the email and it isn't terrible, then you're going to have success. Don't be afraid to use, question for John or quick question John if you think that they're overused, because they actually work really well, even if they are overused. So avoid using subject lines such as, interested John, question mark, as there's a stronger probability that they'll just realize that you're selling them something and then they'll delete the email without even opening it. So a lot of people focus on the subject line too much. It doesn't really matter too much. Your deliverability is going to affect your open rate and how many people are opening your emails more than your actual subject line. And so follow-ups. I'd recommend doing 3 follow-ups to make it a 4-part email sequence. So we got the main one, follow-up 1, follow-up 2, follow-up 3. And then basically you want to refer back to the original email each time. So we don't want to be, adding new points in here. We don't want to tell the prospect basically, new information. We just want to give them basically say, hey, did you see the original email? Just like what are your thoughts on that last email? And so we also never want to tell the prospect that the last follow-up is the last one, because this is going to encourage them not to respond, as they'll know that you'll leave them alone after this last one. So we want to do the opposite of that. Instead, you want to let them know that you're going to keep following up with them until they respond, even if it is the last one. So we can say, hey, John, checking in to see you caught the last email. Hey, John, your email's supposed to be busy. Did you catch my last email? And then the third one, the final one, is going to be, hey, John, did you get a moment to go through my email? I'm going to keep emailing until you see it. Haha, right? And so at this point, they'll see this and they'll have more chance of responding. And then you can work with them on something, right? They might have a question or something like that. So a couple of things to know. Making use of the spin tags feature in your email sending software is super important because it's going to reduce the risk of spam. If you're sending a lot of emails and they're virtually the same, it's the same opening line, then it can cause the domains and the accounts to basically flag this and realize that you're sending a lot of the same email. And so spin tags actually allows you to add variations in your email, and including, just 3 triple variations means that you'll have 9 different variations. So you're basically going to put 1/9 of the same amount of emails into your email software. So to do this, you need to wrap the variations in this like curly bracket thing, and then you separate them out using the line character. So basically, it's not an L, it's not a capital I, it's this weird sort of line that's like above or next to the enter key. And then this is how it would work. So you would put like, hey, hi, hello. So the first email might say, hey, the second one might say hi, the third one might say hello. And then you can put, hope you're having a great day, hope all is well, how's it going? And there's a few examples in here of how it works. And so when you're sending the first email, never, ever, ever send a Calendly link or a scheduling software before the prospect has responded to you. Firstly, because it's a mistake. It's something that I see a lot of people do because they just want to go for the meeting straight away. But it can be bad for deliverability, and it still doesn't really work that well. Many people need to respond to you, and they need to get a question answered or something like that in order to actually go ahead and do it. Now it's time to put everything together, and we're going to create a campaign in Smartlead. Okay, so we're going to head to Smartlead, and we're going to go to the campaign tab. We're going to click create a campaign. We're going to enter a title, so I'm just going to call this test campaign. Okay, and then we're going to import the lead list. So this is just the one that I did earlier. And then you want to click this in here, ignore lead lists that are in another campaign. Basically, if you have multiple campaigns that are running and you're just adding in different leads and stuff, if you don't want to send to the same one, then tick this and it won't import those ones. Make sure that you've mapped the fields correctly. So business name is going to be company name, full name is going to be full name. We don't need full name actually, first name, and then last name. And so what you can do is you can tweak your spreadsheet to have these names. So instead of business name, use company name. Instead of first name, use first. Instead of last name, use last. And then we'll just do it automatically for you. And then click save and next. Cool. And so then you want to add in the subject line. You want to add in the copy. So based on all that information I just gave you, you want to put it together. And of course, if we're going to use first name, so if we're going to say, quick question, and we can add the variables, and we can put first name in here. So now the first name that I have for this lead, it's going to say quick question John, quick question Steve. It's not going to say, first name. And you want to make sure sometimes when you input it in, it leaves a bit of a space sometimes. And so you just want to make sure that you remove that, especially because if you do it in this section, and then you do a comma like that, it's kind of like how it's going to say John space comma. So just make sure you remove that, just a quick tip. And so what you can do is you can add your copy in here, copy 1, and you can go make a new step and you can put it all in here, right? And then you want to leave the subject line empty so that it basically adds on to the current email system that you have, the current chain. If you go a new line here, it's now going to make a new chain. Okay, so the copy is going to be in here. And of course, the syntax stuff that we want to do, we want to put it in like this. So we would put, hey, hi, oh, hi, just like that. And so that's how you would start it. And so you can say, hey, hi, hello, first name, and then, the rest of your copy, just like that. Okay. And then the time difference in here, I normally do between 2 and 3. So for example, you can do 2 on the first one and then 3 on the second one, just like that. Then basically that is just about it. So yeah, make sure you're using the syntax features. So the hey, hi, hello stuff. And there you want to just go ahead and click save and next. Now we go to the sequences. We want to select the sender accounts. So you can just come in here, for example, and just search the cold ones. Okay, so you can just come in here and search for the sending accounts. And of course, make sure you don't add the master account because we're not sending cold emails from that. So you just come in here, you select these, click save email accounts, just like that. And then you want to go and schedule the campaign. So I like to do Monday to Friday. And then you can just come in here and you can put like a New York time, for example. And then I like to do between 11 and 6. And I usually reduce this down to about 7 or 9, something like that. So this is going to mean that an email is sent every 7, 8, 9 minutes. And so then a new trigger every time. And so then you set the campaign date. For example, I can send it for tomorrow. And then the max number of leads in here is going to be the amount that you're doing. If you're doing 100 per day, 200 per day, 300 per day, whatever it is, you can go ahead and put that in here and then click save. And now before you go ahead and click save and next, we want to go ahead and click this little cog in here. Okay. And so this is really important because I don't like to have the email opens tracked simply because it adds a little bit of code. It's bad for deliverability and I don't want to track the link clicks either. So I'm going to turn those off. I'm also going to track this all the way down so that the new emails send first. So new emails go out at 11 a.m. EST. And so the new emails are going to be the things that go. If you do it this way, the follow-ups are going to go first. So you're not going to have consistent number of emails going out every day. It's going to prioritize follow-ups, which I don't really want to do. I want to do new emails every day and then do follow-ups after that. And so now we can check each email. Of course, we only have one in here, and this just says, copy 1, for example, right? And this is what we have. But it's going to go ahead and put, quick question Dylan, so it chooses Dylan's name in there, and it's going to have all this information. And then we just go ahead and click schedule campaign, and then you are basically done, right? And you can send a test email if you want to. You can send different things like that just to see if it's working. So I can go in there and I can send one to my email, for example. I could do something else, but that's basically how it works. And then once it's set up, then the campaign is scheduled. Now, there's a technique that I want to touch on here, and this is kind of out of the scope for this video, but I think it's worth noting. There's something that's called hyper-personalization. Now, there's a few techniques, right, where you can add some form of personalization into your email that is hyper-personalized, right? It's super, super personalized. The person's going to think, no way is this person automated this. This could be a Loom video. This could be a picture of yourself holding up a card that says, hey, John, right, just to prove that you've actually sent this one personally. And there is ways of doing this without actually having to manually do it. And now there's many softwares out there, there's many tricks and things that you can do to do this, okay? And if you do this correctly, it's going to give your campaign an enormous boost. It's going to double, triple your booking rate, right? But it's going to require a lot of effort to do it manually or expertise to do it automated, okay? And so if you can figure out a way to do this, it's going to be definitely worth it. But you want to make sure that you're not going down to less than 50 emails per day, right? If this is really taking a lot of your time, and then you want to weigh up the options because you want to have some kind of volume that's going in there. But yeah, it's going to be something that really helps to boost the results that you're getting. And there's ways that we develop to do it that require its own masterclass, like I said it. But please let me know if you find something like that useful, and I can go through some specific ways that we've done it. It would probably be another 2-hour long video to get that one done. But yeah, that's how it works. And so now it comes to responses, okay? And so we put a lot of focus on actually sending out emails, right, before we've actually heard back from our prospects. But what cannot be understated is the importance of how we actually respond to the emails we receive back. Sometimes as many as 75% of the appointments that we generate are going to be from, someone asking a question and we've got to answer them back. And it's beyond just sending over a Calendly link of sort of an interested prospect, okay? And so these are the different responses that we can actually get. These are categorized as positive, neutral, or negative. So positive one is a prospect just asking to book an appointment. Yep, let's do Tuesday. Neutral is someone saying some questions, they have some clarification. They're looking for an appointment, but maybe at a later date, something like that. And then a negative is not interested, subscribe, or just basically telling you to go away, okay? Handling the positive reply is simple. We just tell them it's great to hear from them, and we send them Calendly link, right? And they book in. The negative responses is also simple too. We just ignore them. In fact, I would delete them from the master inbox because basically you're not tempted to respond to them there. Because I think, in my opinion, in my experience, it is almost impossible to convince a not interested prospect into booking an appointment with you. I've very, very rarely seen it done. I actually can't think of one specific time. And if you do keep following it with them, there's a chance that they're going to mark you in the spam, which is obviously not what we want at all. And then handling neutral responses. This is going to be the difference between hitting your appointment targets or not. So there's a 4-point process that we have here to make sure that our clients convert as many appointments as possible from the responses that they receive. Okay, so we want to reject any negativity. We want to greet the prospect every single time by telling them that you are delighted to hear from them, right? Even if they've been a little blunt, it hasn't been the nicest email in the world, we want to maintain that positive frame. So it's difficult for them to actually break that frame and continue to be negative if we're being really positive and we're just being really nice to them. And then no questions, okay? You're going to get questions from prospects, but we do not answer these. We want to make, if someone asks a specific question, we want to basically tie it back into the call all the time and just not give that answer away just yet. But exceptions can also be made if you try to deflect the question, the prospect continues to ask and say, I'm not going to call until you give me this answer, then maybe you can give them the answer. But the less information you provide, the more likely it is that they will book a call. And you want to focus on the call. So there's going to be many times where the conversations move away from booking a call. Someone mentions something else, but you want to tie it back in, right? So when this happens, just suggest having a call to answer whatever problem it is that the person is having. And then you also want to lower the stakes, okay? So calls can seem daunting for prospects. There's likely a chance they've been burnt in the past, but it's your job to make the call seem as easy and as friendly as possible. Just make it super, super low effort. And so they're much more easy to jump on a call because that's where you're going to answer their questions, you're going to ease their concerns. And so here's a few examples of successfully booked calls. So this is basically when we've had a response. What does a pay-per-performance deal look like? Great to hear from you. Our service varies brand to brand, blah, 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 blah. We're not really answering the question now. I could give a lot more detail on what that is, but I'd love to learn more about your brand and give you an exact offer. Would you be interested in having a quick call to discuss this? Leave the call below. Do you have any times available on Wednesday? Just like that. So we haven't actually answered the question, but they're pretty satisfied and they want to book a call. And then we have Pat here. What is the fee structure? Because we're paid on results, every brand we work with is different. So I wouldn't want to give you a price right now. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you soon. I would like to know the price, services, further pushing me and say, look, I'll be honest with you, it really depends on a bunch of things. So we're giving a little bit more of the answer, but not really that much. But what I can tell you is that we work on a retainer basis. And if we don't hit the targets you set, then you won't pay us for our services. So working with us is risk-free. So we're not really giving the details of the price. We're not giving a specific price. We're just basically giving a little bit more of an answer. And then they book for Monday. And then we have Sophia here. Seems interesting, but before I book a demo call, I'd like to know what kind of system you guys have. And so basically we say, it's fair to answer those questions. They're fair questions, but I would like to answer them on a call. Vaguely answering we have a few different systems, but it really wouldn't do them justice to explain over email. I hope you don't mind. And then she's going back and she's like, look, I really need the answers to these. And so we're giving it a little bit more information, but we're not giving her full information. All our systems are completely using outbound methods. Some of them are cold emails. Would be great to walk you through them on a call. Okay, I've scheduled in a call, just like that. And so that's kind of the structure of how we do the responses. It's kind of the same framework. You don't have to be a super genius to get this right, but if you just handle it in the right way, then you're going to get a lot of success. And so now it's time for the follow-ups on the master account. Okay, so because the master account is only going to be sending emails to people that have sent an email first, then you can quite literally follow up on someone as many times as you want. Because the master account is only going to be sending emails to people who have sent them an email before, then you can literally follow up with someone as many times as you want, right? It's not going to affect your deliverability because they're sending you an email first, okay? However, if you send someone 58 follow-ups and they haven't actually responded, then you're probably risking them marking you as a spam, right? Maybe they've already have by the 10th one or whatever. And that's obviously bad for your deliverability. So I would recommend, not doing more than 15 or so, because that's kind of like a bit of a limit. Maybe even that's on the high side, to be honest with you. But once you've received a positive or a neutral response, add them into the responded label. And if they haven't actually responded back or booked an appointment after a day, then send them another follow-up, label them into the F1. And then every day, just work your way through the follow-ups and just keep moving them down the follow-up. And if there's a prospect who hasn't actually responded or booked, then just send them a follow-up email every, 1 to 2 days, 2 to 3 days sometimes. As long as you're consistent with it and you just keep following up with them, then they have a much, much higher chance of booking an appointment. And to draft the follow-ups, you just simply want to refer back to booking a call, right? We don't want to be going any new points or anything like that. You can actually put these on a Google Doc or as a template on Google Workspace. And so you can just click, you can just put, hey, John, looking forward to the call. Here's the link again, right? And that's all you do. Make sure you include the Calendly for every single time that you do it. And then another tip, which a lot of people don't do, is actually calling the leads. So many people that respond to the emails are going to be interested in talking to you personally, right? They're going to want to talk to other people. They don't want to be messaging someone on an email. Maybe they don't use email all that much. They like to speak to people on the phone. They like that personal connection. And there's something that's formal or a little bit unhuman about messaging through email that a lot of people, do feel, and they don't want to actually do that, right? And so when you receive a positive or a neutral response on the master email, this is a great time to pick up the phone and to give these guys a call, okay? And so you can find their phone number on their website, the social media pages, or you can just, add it into your social, your lead sourcing strategy. So when you go and do your spreadsheets, add a column for the phone, and then you want to call them without telling them that you're going to call them, right? The purpose of the call is going to be to book an appointment. And so they send you an email, they say, hey, what's this about? Can you answer this for me? And then you basically just give them a call straight away and you say, hey, is this John? Oh, hey, John, it's Ben here. Just got your email a second ago. You were asking about this. I thought I'd give you a call to save you some time with all the back and forth if you got a second. Okay, so the way that it works is this, and then you answer that question. And obviously the key here is to be deadly, deadly convicted. You want to be brimming with positivity. And basically, you want to just have this like super, super high confidence, charisma. Just remember, the purpose of the call here is to actually provide the leads with a human touch. So if you're being monitored and if you're not really speaking that much, if you're just sort of, hey, John, I just got your email, it's not going to work, right? It's going to sound like you're reading from a script. If you're not putting that 100% energy in, then it won't work. So it is for those people who are ready to do that and actually, have the capabilities to do that and the skills to do that. And you almost want to treat this as the beginning of the sales call, okay? Because this is the first time that someone is hearing your voice. And so you want to be confident about answering questions on a sales call. And so, confidence needs to be there from the start. You almost treat it like as if this is like a bit of a discovery call almost. Okay, so to conclude, if you follow these steps and you implement everything correctly, then there's no way you don't book enough meetings to make 10K per month. It really is that simple. But the key here is to be consistent, okay? Keep sending emails over a prolonged period of time. Make sure that you manage the master inbox correctly on a daily basis, if not multiple times a day. And the appointments are going to be inevitable. It really is a matter of when you book appointments, not if, with this kind of system. So if you have any questions, just drop me a comment in the YouTube section. I am more than happy to help you out. And if there's anything that I haven't explained properly or something like that, then you can drop a question in. That's completely fine. But yeah, I appreciate you watching this one to the end. If you are looking for someone to basically do this system for you and to help you out with this and to basically sign you more clients for your agency, then click the first link in the description. I'm not asking for your email or your phone number or anything like that. It's literally just a video of myself and how we do this. And my company does this for all the clients that we have. But yeah, you don't have to click it if you want to. If you just want to watch this and implement it yourself, then you can do, of course. But yeah, like the video, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.